Dear friends of AJC, how are you all? I hope you're doing good. This is Ramadan time in Egypt, but actually for the first time we cannot celebrate the holy months as we usually do, because this year we have a lot of special developments going on in Egypt. It's almost a fight between those who are trying to keep us on the wrong track and those who are trying to bring Egypt back on the right track to liberal democracy. We have like so many developments going on two parallel ways. One way of those two parallel ways is the state way, and the other way is the street way. On the street way, protests are still going on. Somehow there is some kind of battle between protesters. Those who are still supportive of Morsi, who are actually usually, or most of them are Islamists, and those who are supporting the ouster of Morsi and taking Egypt back to a civilian, secular government. So when those do protests, the others do protests, and like keep this kind of strange fight of protesting and street politics, with the hope that each side would influence decision makers. On the other hand, state politics, I can see a lot of progress on this level. Now we have an interim president, we have an interim government that has been already formed, and we have a constitutional declaration for the interim period. One of the things that I think is really outstanding is that the interim constitutional declaration is giving a special quota for women and for youth in every decision-making process that should be taking place. In other words, all the committees and like constituent assemblies maybe that will be formed, youth and women will be an essential part of it, based on a certain quota. On the other hand, the interim government is very promising. It's true it does not have enough youth or a good number of youth, but in fact, most of its members are qualified to do the job. They are technocrats. They are not mainly politicians, but they are qualified to do this job. And I believe actually, given the fact that it is only an interim government that should do a specific task on a specific period of time, we should not ask for more than a technocrat government. Also, this government will be responsible for organizing presidential elections very soon, first parliamentary elections and then presidential elections. And this will happen after writing the constitution. We're going to repeat the same mistake of going first to elections and then going second to constitution again. The military has withdrawn itself totally from the decision-making process. They are not being involved in any decision-making of any kind. Something that may sound confusing to you is that the Minister of Defense is now appointed as a deputy to the Prime Minister. But actually that is only in his political capacity or the political capacity of his position as minister. But he's not really interfering in choosing ministers or writing the constitution or anything. All these responsibilities are only given to the interim president. And exclusively, he's the one who exclusively has the right to do this. Civil society in Egypt is getting really well organized, and this is also something I see very positive. And they are now working mainly to see how to apply transitional justice. And by the way, for the first time in our history, we have a minister for transitional justice. This is the very first time to have such kind of ministry and minister. So I think this is also very positive and would promise that we can create reconciliation. Speaking about national reconciliation, actually a lot of people are speaking about this term right now, but they don't really know what it means or what should be expected to happen by reconciliation. It's not only about shaking hands with Islamists and thus we are happy with them and there is reconciliation happening. But there is a lot of different levels of conflict in the Egyptian society that needs to be resolved first before we look for political reconciliation. we need political reconciliation is one of them, but there is also social reconciliation that is very much needed, religious reconciliation that is very much needed, and reconciliation between civil society and the government. All these factors should be discussed as part of all the initiatives we're hearing today about national reconciliation. So I hope civil society would help very much in this, especially my organization, actually, as we have very good experience in this. And I hope the country settles down soon, and all the protests that are happening in the streets, the violence that is practiced by Islamists sometimes here and there to keep like the fire up, especially when we had Mr. William Burns in Egypt 2 days ago. Mr. William Burns is the deputy of the Secretary of State. And he was here to see what happens in Egypt, to see whether there is democratic progress or progress towards democracy or not. And I think he got the right image. And as soon as he left from here, he started speaking positively about the new government that is being formed. And he witnessed the violence practiced by the Muslim Brotherhood and the supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood with his own eyes. And I'm so glad actually he transferred this to his government. Let's hope the upcoming days will be even better, and wait for more updates from Egypt. And to see more, go to ajc.org and follow AJC on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, and speak with you soon.